Yes, meow. Good to see you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. We are live and alive on today, Thursday. Ooh, we almost made it to the weekend. Love that for us. Thursday, the 20th of March. I know it's March already, darling. It's almost spring. Easter's coming. So we're back with another day of spoilers. Got some good ones to go through today. We're back with our Dragons of Tarkir. Oh no, that's not the name of the set. It's almost the name of the set. Tarkir Dragonstorm. I'm going to get that wrong many more times over the coming weeks and months. But yeah, we had some good ones yesterday. We did kind of have to rush a little bit at the end yesterday because I do have that 9 a.m. cut off because I have to start the day job. There's one card that we missed yesterday that I do want to touch on before we start on the new ones. And that's Sunset Strike Master. It's 1 red for a human monk. You tap it to add a red. That's a bit unique. And then it has 2 in a red and tap and sacrifice this creature. Deal 6 damage to target creature with flying. So, this is just a mana rock. This is just a straight mana dork in red. My wife was talking about this yesterday. She is a red mage. This is her favourite card from the set. So far, anyway. Yeah, this is one we missed yesterday, but it is worth talking about. As this is, I'm not going to say a break of the colour pie because there are cards that have done this before. There was actually one of my favourite bad arts is on a red mana dork. So creature. So this is something that red has done in the past. Yes, Sisters of the Flame. This is dorky art. Maybe it's not terrible, it's dorky art. But, so red has had this type of effect before, but you can see how many it's had. This is only the second creature to just tap and add a red. Like, House Squad Heavy, you need goblins. This one you need max speed. This one you need to only cast elementals or chandras. This kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's definitely a break of the colour pie. I think my wife was talking yesterday. The reason behind this is they wanted, basically, I guess they are listening to some of the conversations that people are having about Commander, about when Dockside got banned. That was one of the main ways that red could catch up could catch up and advance other colours in terms of ramp. And I guess because red has had this effect technically in the past with Sisters of the Flame, having mana dorks is something that we might see in red going forward. That is a little weird. It's something we'll need to get used to. But, yeah, interesting card. Definitely worth talking about it. It's also a 3-1 for 2. This is probably just going to go in every Peasant Cube going forward. And a decent amount of red decks, especially because why mana dorks can be important, especially in Commander, is if you're in a creature-based deck. Like in green, you just have a wide variety of choices. Like if you're doing a lands deck, you can run Rampant Growth. If you're doing an artifact deck, you can run your rocks. If you're doing a creatures deck, if you're planning on winning with the Crater Hoof, you can run mana dorks. But you can't do that in other colours. And it does make sense that not all colours should just have lands or creatures that can just generate mana. But red has got a lot of treasure stuff recently, but that isn't always a good thing. Like there's an element of there could be a bit too much treasure production just naturally going around, and just that could be a bit too strong maybe. And this is a nice little valve. I doubt we'll ever get a Llanowar Elves in red. And maybe at Modern Masters, I don't know. Maybe at no, screw it. One day we'll get a red Llanowar Elves. It'll be a goblin. It'll be cool. All right. So we have a bunch of stuff to go through today. We have our land cycle as well. Let's start there, actually. So, this is the Sultai one. So this is Kishla Village. Yes, more cat. Kishla Village. It enters tapped unless you control an island or a swamp. And it taps to add a green and has 3 in the green. Tap it to surveil 2. So there is a whole cycle of these. So it's for all the wedges in this set. The ability on this one is Surveil 2. Yeah, very strong. I do think you could run this in a 2-colour deck if you are green, blue, or green, black, but realistically, you just want this to be in a Sultai deck, I think. It can go in any green deck, because its color identity is only green because of the green in the casting cost. So you could run this in a mono green deck, just as a utility land that surveils too. That isn't terrible, just having a bit of card filtering in green. I don't hate that, actually. If you just accept it comes into play tap, that's not terrible. Yeah, I like this card. I think this one is mid powered level tier. There's one that I think is quite strong, and the rest are kind of like varying levels of goodness. This one is just solid. Sultai deck, like if you're looking at this purely as a Sultai card, I think it's great. It will come down mostly untapped most of the time, and then just having the ability to mill yourself is what those Sultai decks want. We're here for it. Next up, we have, I'm guessing this is the Jeskai one. Kori Mountain Monastery. It is a land that enters play untapped unless you control a plains or an island. Great, we nailed the Jeskai part. 3 in a red, exile the top card of your library until end of next turn you may play that card. So yeah, so just... Yeah, So basically, I'm trying to evaluate these more than just in the Jeskai deck. In the Jeskai deck, I think you run this. I think this is a very solid card. You can probably maybe cut a mountain if we're being greedy for this. I don't think you can cut dual lands for these because it doesn't filter you. It only adds for 1 mana. So you still need to run this on top of your dual lands. But yeah, I think in a mono red deck, I would probably still run this in Commander. It's a tap land that later in the game is some card draw or some card advantage. I think this is good. Red doesn't have as many utility lands that give you card advantage. Like obviously it has access to, like every color has access to War Room. Yeah, this is probably just really good. It's just like that generally good enough power level that you're probably going to run it over, or that you can run it over other utility lands. And I think I like card advantage over more than like... There's ones that kind of can make you some 1/1s, or ones that can like give your creatures +1/+0, that kind of stuff. I personally go for card draw over those spells, I think. Over those kind of mini effects, unless you're really hard in tokens. So yeah, this one is also really strong. This cycle could be quite powerful, actually. So this is the Abzan one, so enters tapped unless you control a forest or a plains. 1 black, exile a creature card from your graveyard, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token. I like this one less. It is just 2 mana to create a token, and if you're doing token matters and aristocrats, then I think this does get in. The one thing with this is that, oddly, or also I guess if you're doing the Insidious Roots, things leaving your graveyard deck with Sir Conrad, because this will trigger that because the exile card will leave your graveyard. Oddly, I'd want this in a Mardu deck, which I think is the tricky part of this. Mardu tends to be full on aristocrats more than Abzan. Goodbye. Abzan isn't as much Abzan can be the aristocrat color, but it's more likely to be Abzan. I think you probably still run this in an Abzan deck because you're going to have a plains. Maybe you splash a Yavimaya in there in your Mardu deck, which you can do. Sorry, because I'm not centered. I must center myself. Let's go. But yeah, this one's the worst we've seen so far, I think. Making creatures and affecting the board is good, but I think just 1/1 is a bit anemic. It's a bit more set up than the other ones, but it is a cheaper effect. This one I think is cracked. Mistrais Village? Mistrais Village. Enters tapped unless you control a mountain or a forest. Taps to add a blue and tap. The next spell you cast this turn can't be countered. So, this is the cheapest of the effects, I believe. I don't think... Yeah, the next one's 3 mana. So this is the cheapest of the effects, so you can use it earliest. You are down a land when you have to use these abilities, and this is the only one of... The rest of them you can kind of just do when you have spare mana. This one is kind of adding on to the cost of a spell, so you'll be down the blue you tap and this as well. So effectively it does cost 2 mana, or 2 lands as it were, to do this effect, but the next spell you cast this turn can't be countered. That is really strong. Of all of them, this is the one that I could just see naturally going into any blue deck, any Simic deck, any Izzet deck, because it's just spell. It's not next creature. It's not next instant or sorcery. It's just next spell. That's really strong. This could be the best of the cycle, just because of its utility, and yeah, it's not as good in like a Creature Matters deck as like a Cavern of Souls. But few things are, and that card's very expensive. For Commander, this is probably the one I'd be excited about the most, because in Commander, I do tend to run... if I'm in blue, I will run some protection. Even if I'm not doing counterspells, or like counterspells to stop my opponent's stuff, I'll run an offer you can't refuse. You don't need to... Like this just opens up a slot in your deck now, because this exists. Very strong card, we like it. So I've got the white one, complete the cycle. So this is the Abzan one. No, sorry, the Mardu one. Enters taps unless you draw a swamp or a mountain. Taps to add a white. 2 untap. Whenever you attack this turn, create 2 1/1 red warrior creature tokens that are tapped and attacking. Sacrifice them at the beginning of your next end step. Yeah, this is what I want in an aristocrat deck. I don't see... When you compare the black one to the white one, do you see what I mean? I think the white, this one in that deck, or in any kind of aggressive deck, is pretty good. Actually, it's two and white and tap. Do I add this to my cube, actually? I do run cycles of... Or I do run lands in my cube. This isn't a dual land, so it's competing against Iganjo and Caracas, and that's a bit of a tricky spot to be in. But just in Boros, so like, I'm not cutting Arid Mesa, Inspiring Plateau, or Inspiring Vantage Plateau, or Sacred Foundry for this. But like, in that deck where I'm running things like Anim Pakal, Flage, Athari, Ajani, we're kind of doing Rabble Mastery dot deck tokens. We have a Brimaz, we have Rabble Masters. This is fine there. You do have to have another creature, so it's whenever you attack this turn, so you do have to have another creature to attack to activate this, which isn't nothing. Like, this doesn't do nothing on an empty board, which I guess this one does. All you need is a... You're more likely to be able to use this late game after a board wipe, whereas this one you can't, but this is more impactful. I like the white one. Maybe I'll try this. If you're doing aristocrats, again, this is just better than the black one. I think you might run both, because there are red ones that make tokens as well. I think this is fine. Fine, not massively blown away. Alright. Let's keep going. Ooh, what's this? Evolving Wilds. I should have done... Let's just get first print on here so we don't accidentally do a bunch of stuff we've already done before. Is first print, that's what we want. Alright, that's mucked up the order. Well, never mind. Let's do Severance Priest. It is an Abzan for a 3/3. Ooh, it's the Abzan rare. This is competing against Siege Rhino, remember everyone. Creature Djinn Cleric with Death Touch. Why isn't there an Abzan Djinn? That's weird. Whenever this creature enters, target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. If you do, exile that card. Okay, that's strong. Whenever this creature leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner creates an XX white spirit token, where X is the value of the exiled card. Okay. This is good. This is hand attack like this is good. It's kind of like the... What's the card? Skyclave Apparition? Is this kind of effect of like when the creature leaves, they get... What's nice and what's strong about this is they never get the card back. That is very strong. Like it's exiled. Wow, that's really good. Okay, so in combo matchups, this is very strong. I'm trying to work out what deck this goes into. Like this... I don't think you want this in Commander, because it's just a bit targetedly hateful. Like CEDH, maybe, if you're in a very combo meta. There's probably like a, I don't know, like a Canadian Highlander deck that's doing like Death and Taxes and is splashing green for some beef. Maybe there it's alright. I don't think I want this in Cube, just because... this would be a very good Cube card, but it's 3 colours, and you get... very little multicolored cards compared to monocolored cards. And in most cubes, you get even less 3-color cards. So I'm running like some ultimatums in my cube, and like Satya and Leovold. Even in my multicolored, like in my true multicolored cube, this is the Treat Yourself cube. I only get this is a cube designed around multicolored cards. I only get like 2 multicolored cards. I'm not going to replace this is a generically good card. Whereas, like, cards I'm running here are things like Song of Creation, or the Necro Bloom, give my lands Dredge, that kind of stuff. Merkel is a combo piece. You see what I mean? Like this will struggle to get into cube just because it's a bit generically good. It's a good card. Like standard probably is the place for this if we're doing 3-color stuff. But yeah, good card. I'm just struggling to work out where it goes. All right, we have a blue card draw spell. I'm assuming. Winter Night Stories, 2 in a blue, sorcery, draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature card. Okay, so have we seen the creature version of this before? I know we've had the artifact version, we've had the land version. Are they instants? Either way, this one has Harmonize for 4 and a blue. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its Harmonize cost. When you do, tap a creature you control, which reduces this cost by X, where X is its power, then exile this spell. So Harmonize in blue is a little tricky because blue is a creature. Like, yeah. So you can see from the symbol, from the watermark, it's a Temur card. In Temur, this makes sense because you're going to have some beef in your green and your blue deck. But outside of like limited, like where does this go? Like in like big sea creatures style of blue decks, like blue decks where you have a bunch of big creatures. There, it's just in like sea creature like Reanimator. I don't hate that. In Reanimator, what's the play pattern of that? You cast this, you discard, you draw 3, you discard your reanimation effect, then you reanimate it back, and then you tap it to do it. Draw some more cards. That's not for not. This is a good card. It's a fine card. I think just in blue, this isn't a generic go in every blue card deck just because the Harmonize cost. Although you are just getting it twice, like even just paying 5 for this effect later in the game is probably still fine. Like, maybe one of your prowess creatures is 2. Yeah, to be fair, paying 3 and tapping a creature for this is probably fine late game. Hello again, darling. Have you had your breakfast? Come on, come to Papi. Yes, meow. Meow. Yes, good peachy. Yeah, Winter Night Stories is fine. I'm probably wanting too much. Like, it still costs like if this is costing 3 when you flash it back. That's probably still good. Okay. Yeah, I just need to. There's an element of untested Tarkir cost reduction ability. Could be good. Be open to it being good. All right. You just look like a dorky common. Tempest Hawk. Here we go. So this is a fun one. 2 and a white creature bird. It is a 2/2 with flying, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may search your library for a card named Tempest Hawk, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, and a deck can have any number of cards named Tempest Hawk. So because of that last line of text, this is randomly going to be like 2-3 quid as people build the Hawk deck. So this is a throwback to Squadron Hawk, where when you, I think that was when you cast one. Look up Squadron Hawk. I think that was when you cast one, you go to get another one. We are just doing all the spellings today. Squadron Hawk. So this is a 2-mana 1/1 enters. You may search your library, but obviously you can only run 4 of these in a deck, and this was pretty broken in standard. Core Blade was a deck back in the day. That with Jace the Mind Sculptor. Maybe Jace the Mind Sculptor was the broken part, not the Squadron Hawk. But hey ho. This is just good. People will build this in Commander, stick a Thrumming Stone in it. There is a dorky legend that all birds get +1/+1 from like Legends, I want to think. I mean, if you want a bonus deck tech this morning, that's not it. I swear it's all birds, or birds get +1. It's not gonna be all. So you have Aven Brigader. All right, we're building the Commander deck, everyone. Aven Brigader. Where is the legend? I know what it looks like. God damn it. All right, let's just do release date. Ascending. Here we go. All right. We're going to add Aven Brigader. We're going to have Soria the Falconer as our commander. It's been errated from all falcons to all birds get +1/+1. Target bird gains banding until end of turn. Yeah, you know you want to play with banding in 2025. And about 40 Tempest Hawks. Please and thank you. You're very welcome. Yeah, cool card. Draft multiples in limited. Spec on your Soraya the Falcon is now before it shoots up. Alright, let's keep going. Let's look at Magmatic Hellkite. 2 red, 4/5 creature dragon with flying. When it enters, destroy target non-basic land and opponent controls. Its controller searches their library for a basic land card, puts it on the battlefield tapped with a stun counter on it, then shuffles. That's pretty strong. Is Ponza in standard right now? Are there many destroy target effects around, like destroy target land effects? This is good, mate. All right, I know that we've just had the whole bracketeer or bracket system for Commander, but people do need to run more land destruction in Commander. Like, I think most decks, or most 2-color decks, should just be packing a wasteland. People getting free rolls with just powerful lands because of the social contract of don't blow up my... Like, there's a difference between blowing up someone, like, everyone's basics and blowing up someone's, like, Gaia's Cradle or some other, like, some other strong broken land in Commander. People should be able to interact with those lands and people not be bummed out by it. Personal take there, anyway. But, yeah, this is fine. It is a bit more... It feels a bit more 1-and-1-y than Commander, so I'm assuming this is more Canlander. I could try, like, in my... Again, in the 5-color cube, everybody doesn't get there just based on vibes, if that makes sense. Just because I'm not trying to blow up people's lands, that doesn't feel good. People aren't treating themselves by having their lands blown up. But it would probably be good there and be right there. It's a 4-mana spell, and you're just blowing up a dual land or... Actually, no, I can't, in all good faith, put it in a cube where I want people to play Bazaar of Baghdad. I will never have it blown up. Get wrecked. All right, let's keep going. Eshki Dragonclaw. 1 and a teamer, legendary creature, human warrior. Vigilance, trample, ward. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you cast both a creature spell and a non-creature spell this turn, draw a card and put 2+1 counters on Eshki Dragonclaw. So this is a pretty solid teamer legend. It kind of does... It's kind of doing the thing of just... It's rewarding you for playing Magic, basically. It's letting you do the thing. Yeah, this is a fine card. It's a bit generic, I think. At the beginning of combat turn, if you cast both and draw a card. Yeah. This feels like a reward for just playing Magic, and that's a bit too generic for me to try and put into a deck. I think it's fine, but I'm not massively blown away by it. This is a generic card. I'm just not super fussed by it. All right. Meow. All right. Awaken the Honored Dead. Saga for a Sultai. 1 mana, destroy target non-land permanent. Oops, sorry. Down you go. 1, destroy target non-land permanent. 2, Saga Sage. Lore 2 to mill 3 cards. And 3, you may discard a card. When you do, return target creature card or land from your graveyard to your hand. This is fine. If you're in a Sultai deck, I think you can consider this just because effectively it's a sorcery, destroy target non-land permanent. Kind of like Sultai Charm from the first Tarkir. I think this is fine. Yeah, this is a decent card. It ticks all the little boxes that a Sultai deck wants for a value card. It destroys target non-land permanent. It mills 3 cards. This is just a generically fine card. All right, decent combat trick here. Surak, Elusive Hunter. 2 and a green. Let's check this sound. Something like that. 2 and a green, 4/3 legendary creature, human warrior. This spell can't be countered. It has trample. When a creature you control or a creature spell you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, draw a card. Okay, so when your opponents target your stuff, you get to draw cards. That's pretty fun. I think I saw that this goes... You infinitely get milled out by this if someone casts an Orcish Bowmaster against you and you have this card. Because the ability resolves before everything and you kind of keep drawing you draw your whole deck. And you get, I'm assuming you get pinged out with that as well. That's pretty vibey. In general, I think this is a fine card. The fact you can't control it is like we've seen this effect on like enchantments before, and they've not really seen much play. This is just a 3 mana 4/3 trample, so so effectively you're running it. If you're running this in a deck, you're running it as a 3 mana 4/3 trample. Like in my cubes, I run just like beef before, like Ursine Monstrosity. Yeah, it's not as good as that. It could be as good as Hauntswood Shrieker, and effectively it's going to draw you a card when they Doomblade it, or when they kill it, or kill something like that. That's not terrible. The interaction with Orcish Bowmasters is hilarious. Hopefully a Pro Tour ends like that. Ooh, okay, let's go up the mana value now. So we have another Omen today. 4 mana, 2/4 Flying Dragon. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell or a dragon spell, gets +2/+0 on turn. Okay, that is a good. So that's like uber prowess, as it were. Has Chilling Screech, counter target spell with mana value 2 or less. This one, this is a good one. Very good in limited. Probably doesn't get there in Commander just because that's a little bit anemic. Like that just stops. Like this just stops being relevant very quickly in Commander. Like, yes, it'll stop your swords, like their Swords of Arceus or their Path to Exile, but so will any other card, and this just seems a bit not super blown away by that one. But I think the fact that it's two, what I've generally learned is 2 middling effects on one card does make a good card. So this is probably a fine card, probably good in like a Peasant Cube, but I'm not excited about it anywhere higher than that. All right, Dragonback Assault, 3 in a Teamer. Enchantment. When this enchantment enters, it deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Interesting, so it's a mini board wipe. And landfall, whenever land you control enters, create a 4/4 dragon with flying. Okay, that's vibey. This does need to go in a specific deck. Like, this is one for Commander, because it's 3 colours. Generally, the 3 colour cards have to be really, really strong to get into any type of cube or any kind of like anything like that. But the mini Wrath part is nice. You will need to build your deck to not care about or to not have too many mana dorks, as this will just wipe out your ability to play other big cards. It doesn't have to go in a Dragon's deck, but if you are doing lands, like I'm thinking like the 3/4 colour Omnathi decks, things like this is a landfall card basically. Like in theory, this is this could be a downside, but I think you have to build your deck around it, and this is really strong. Landfall. Create a dragon is kind of nuts. Obviously, it gets way better with fetch lands because then you're making 2 a turn. Strong, very strong. 6 mana over 3 colours is a real cost. But if you're in Teamer and you're doing the landfall card, this is probably going to be a staple in those decks going forward. Oral Procession. Instant. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. That's good. Is this Power Cube worthy? Potentially. Those cubes love Eternal Witness. And effectively, those cubes just love any way to cast Time Walk again and again. And this is any card. Target card is really strong. I don't think... This isn't just like it goes in any Commander deck, although there could be an argument for it, just because it's very flexible. This could probably be for Powered Cube, just because any cards that let you play your powerful cards again are naturally quite strong. Yeah, maybe this is one just for Powered Cube, but I think it's very good there. What do you do? The Sibzig Ceremony. Trips black. That is definitely a cost. Legendary Enchantment. Creature spells you cast cost 2 generic less to cast. Okay, that's something. And whenever you cast, whenever a creature you control enters, if you cast it, destroy that creature, then create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. What did I just read? Okay, what are we doing with this? Is this just more in the... I mean, I showed this card yesterday to describe a lot of cards. Is this just Doom Dissenter .deck? 2 mana dorky thing, when it dies gives you an effect. Is that what we're doing with this card? There must be something better. I don't just want to go search for Reddit, but what does... Especially if there's anything, if we see anything iffy on Reddit, we'll come out of it immediately. This feels like a trap. Yeah, okay, it is just saying the things that I was thinking of. Oh, Persistent Undying. That's hot. I like that. So if you play this and your whole deck has Undying, it'll be destroyed and then will come back in either with a +1/+1 counter or with a -1/-1 counter, and then it won't. And then you'll just have it again, and you'll have the zombie. That's pretty good. I mean, it is technically a free sack outlet. Technically. It curves out after your Blood Artist, everyone. That's pretty good. Hello again, small cat. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, I should have cat cam. That's what you do when you're not on camera. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come on, come on. Meow. She's playing hard to get. Apologies. But your audience needs you, darling. Come on, come on, come on. Come to Pappy. So this is a weird card. This needs more than just a hot takes to work out what we're doing with it and why it's good. This feels like the one where, like, creature spells you cost 1 or 2 less to cast, and they all get -1/-1. There's a black enchantment that does that. There'll be something cool we can do with this card. Very build-aroundy, but could be potentially very strong. I can't believe I had to show Doom Dissenter 2 times in a row. I think we showed Draco Genesis yesterday. Let's see. I think that was everything from the main set. Let's move over to the Commander product. So, we had the Jeskai deck spoiled yesterday. Is it Sultai today? Ooh, hopefully. So we've gone through the Commanders. Let's go over some of the new cards from the set. So we have a Aligned Heart. We have this. We have you. Ooh, you've got Storm. Jesus Christ. Alright. So we have a bunch to go through today before we finish up. Adaptive Training Post. 2 and a blue for an artifact. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if this artifact has fewer than 3 charge counters on it, put a charge counter on it. Okay. Remove 3 charge counters from this artifact. When you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Oh, I like this. Okay, it is very... It's very Commander. This is something that you are playing... Yeah. In the deck... I think we talked about it yesterday when we talked about... Is it in the Commander product? Or when we talked about the new... What's his face? Shuyun? Is that his name? The blue... Oh, sorry, the new Taigan. Where it feels like you want to be casting... Where the deck is cantrips and extra turn spells. That's what this feels like. It feels like... Love you, small cat. It feels like you want to be casting... You want to be going like Opt, Ponder, Preordain... Or, yeah. Put a charge counter on it. You cast a sorcery spell if it has fewer than... Okay. It feels like you want to go... Opt, Ponder, Preordain, extra turn spell. That feels like you want what you're doing with this. There are plenty of decks, and especially from this set, where that's going to be the thing they're doing. We will need to... Just because of the game changer aspect of extra turns, we will need to find other big things to do. Like Right of Replication might be a good one to copy. Ultimatums are fun. I mean, what do you call it? I don't think people play enough Dream Halls in Commander. Dream Hallsing out ultimatums is really fun. So maybe that's what you're doing. It's just going into... Oh, I don't hate that. Maybe I should build that in Commander. Jeskai, big spells, and like big things that copy spells already exist. Things like Arcane Bombardment, things like Double Vision. But these do have to come out later. Just having this on 3, yes, you have to work for it. But if you cast this on 3, those deck wants to be casting cheap spells. They're just going to fill their bin, trigger their prowess stuff a bunch, and then just you're going to double cast a big spell later on. This seems fine in that deck. It is the epitome of a Commander card because it is a 3-mana artifact that does nothing when it comes in. Doesn't ramp you, doesn't give you an effect straight away. But yeah, solid card. Get your fancy ops because they've got a lot better by this set. Next up we have Aligned Heart, another 3-mana enchantment. Oh no, sorry, 3-mana do nothing maybe. It's an enchantment with Flurry, which is whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a rally counter on this enchantment. Then create a 1/1 white monk token with prowess for each rally counter on it. So, again, we are in the depths of the Jeskai deck here, doing a bunch of casting spells. We don't normally see this effect in white. This is very much we're only really getting this cast your second spell stuff in white because of the Jeskai-ness of the set. Like I think when this was a thing they started in like Eldraine a while ago, in original Eldraine, and it was like the is it mechanic. It feels like so they've kind of keyworded it with flurry. Yeah. Again, if we're doing the Feather the Redeemed, anything that is full of. So, in those kind of Spellslinger decks, anything those decks are just like basically those decks are generally made up of like 30 to 40 instant and sorceries and like 10 when you cast a creature when you cast an instant or sorcery or a non-creature spell, make a token. Those are effectively your payoffs for a lot of those builds. Like that is one way you can definitely build those, and it's rewarding you for casting instant sorceries by making you a token board state. So you're just drawing cards, sitting there drawing cards, or interacting with your opponents, and then you're making your board state in the background, and then when you have a board state, you can turn it sideways. This is sort of like that, but it's not. All of the other ones, like stuff like Talrand, is what I'm talking about. Cast an instant sorcery, make a 2/2. This guarantees you making a 2/2 flyer. The monk prowess tokens are better because they scale naturally with the deck, like especially with the combat trick doing stuff with feather, the prowess, and they get buffed up by prowess, they can get buffed up by your combat tricks when you're targeting things with feather. Or Zada is the other great one in this type of build. Zada must. That's not how you spell Zada, is it? It is. Hooray! So this kind of deck, if Zada hasn't come in the Jeskai precon, I'd be very surprised. Or it could be built differently, but kind of like the combat trick stuff is a cool way of going with it. You target one creature, but basically you're just casting combat tricks again and again and again. The prowess tokens, like the monk prowess tokens, are very strong. Like Monastery Mentor is a hell of a magic card. I think it's probably. Oh, it's in the deck. Oh, that's cool. Monastery Mentor getting a reprint in the deck is fun. Like this was a very expensive card for a while. It's the kind of card that I think from my conversations shouldn't be played in Vintage, but is still played in Vintage because it does what people want. Like I Black Lotus, Monastery Mentor, play my Mox, make a 1/1 prowess, gaming, that kind of stuff. So just have another. So this is not as good as Monastery Mentor, but it's in the deck with it. And if you were doing that, I think this makes sense for it to go in. If you're doing a spell thing in your cube, then I think maybe you test this. But just the fact that it is. So hold on. So what's the math on this? So the first spell you cast, you get nothing. Second spell you cast, you get 1 creature. Third spell you cast, you get nothing. Fourth spell you cast, you get 3 creatures. Fifth spell, nothing. Sixth spell, 6 creatures. I don't think this is there for cube, but I think for commander, that progressing up is pretty good. It's better if you have proliferate as well, because you can proliferate up the counters. For me to be happy with this, I need to be casting 6 spells afterwards, I think. Because it's competing against all the other token makers that naturally make you tokens. Like there's a bunch now at 3 mana. There's like Poppet Stitcher. There's what do you call it? I mean, there's ones at 2 mana. There's where's is it? There's Third Path Iconoclast. There's Saheeli. Like the tokens that this makes are better, but you don't get as many of them. And if you're making tokens, you want to be making tokens. Cool card. Alright, let's keep going. Next up we have Caldera Pyamore. More dragons, we love it. 5 mana for a 3/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put up some counter on this creature, then it deals damage equal to its power to target opponent. Good. Okay. So the damage side of things in those Jeskai Spellslinger decks has been lacking. Like you have Gutter Snipe, but this is a dragon. Yeah, yes, it is 5 mana, but it is more of a top end. Like the first spell you cast after this deals 4 damage to an opponent. The second spell deals 5 damage. That's pretty good, and it obviously gets better if you're running effects that give it prowess. There's a bunch of effects we've seen already in this set. Like all your creatures get. I'm pretty sure we have seen all your creatures gain prowess in this set somewhere. I'm pretty positive that exists and we've seen it. Like a commander that gives a bunch of your stuff prowess. Like that's pretty good. And obviously this with Like this with combat tricks, actually. Like if you're doing combat tricks, like this with like giant growth. Yeah, then it deals damage. So if you giant growth this or brute force it, the red version, cast this, single mana, give it +3/+3. So it'll be a 7/7 that then deals creature. So it's once you cast it, put a counter on it, and then is it cast? So it won't have resolved. That's less good. They've done it fairly. Still a cool card. I'm up for more direct damage spells because like most of the direct damage spells are like, or the damage spell slinger things that deal like 1 damage, maybe deal 2. This immediately deals 3 and can deal more. We like it. All right, we have 5 more to get through. About 10 minutes or so. Tempest Technique, 3 and a white enchantment aura with Storm. I love that for you. Enchant creature you control. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. That's very funny. I don't know what. This is cool. This isn't for this deck, is my gut. This is kind of like a aggro. Oh, if you're doing if you're doing the more heroic side of things, where it's just targeting your things with a spell or ability, will this trigger? It probably will trigger heroic, I'm assuming, because you are putting an enchantment on it. Meow. So that's pretty good. This is a weird one. I mean, it's a Storm card. Obviously, it's a weird one. But the Storm part wants you to go in decks that are casting multiple spells in a turn. I mean, you do have the bits in enchantment decks. Like, Enchantress decks are full of cards that draw you more cards and reduce the cost of your spells. That is kind of a Storm deck. Storm decks are just cantrips and things that make your spells cost cheaper. You have that, there's cards that make your enchantments and your auras cost cheaper. There's cards that draw cards when you play enchantments or auras. That's kind of broken. And then this is like an all that glitters. Oh, it's only enchantments, but if you are committing to enchantments in this. I mean, there are Voltron Enchantress commanders out there. Okay. I want to see someone pop off with this. This is a fun one. Like, it's Storm, yes, but famous last words. I don't think this is going to get there in Vintage or Legacy. If my wife comes at me, the bloody Storm white card, then I won't have any sympathy. It'll be funny. All right. 4 more to get through. Transcendent Dragon, 4 blue creature dragon with flash, flying. It is a 4/3, and when it enters, if you cast it, counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard, then you may cast it without paying its mana cost. That is a card. Hell yes. I'm buying this and it's going straight into my Treat Yourself cube. Like, we've seen stuff like this before. Like, it's kind of a... What's the card? It feels like a Fractured Identity style of thing. It feels Fractured Identity, where you are spending 6 mana, but you are undoing your opponent's work. It is a spell, so it isn't like a... It doesn't hit the reanimation stuff, but... I like this card. Yeah, this is one I'm probably going to... Like, in Commander, it's oddly in multiplayer, I'm less hyped for this, just because it's a bit more fair. Like, you're kind of... It is a big tempo swing, but it's only a tempo swing on one opponent. Whereas in one-on-one, that is a massive tempo swing. Like, in any cube, if an opponent Sublime Epiphanies you are kind of ruined. Even if they just get like 2 modes on this, like counter target spell, create a token, and draw a card. That is like a 3 or 4 for 1. And with this, you copy their spell, you counter their spell, so that's a 1 for 1. You get it, 2 for 1, and you get a 4/3 flyer, 3 for 1. That's really good. Yeah, I like this card. This card's sick. Gonna be testing that. Transforming Flourish, 2 and a red with instant with Demonstrate, which is when you cast a spell, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. Players may choose new targets for the copies. Destroy target artifact or creature spell you don't control. If that opponent is destroyed this way, its controller exiles cards on top of their library until they exile a non-land card. Then you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Hold on, what? Destroy target artifact or creature you don't control. If the permanent is destroyed this way, its control exiles from the top of the library. You may cast it. Oh, sorry. Then they may cast it. Sorry, I very much blacked out for a moment there. Then they may cast it. Okay, this is... Are we stopping running Chaos Warp now? Have they power crept Chaos Warp? This is permanent, which we like. Again, can hit Gaia's Cradle in those formats, or can hit a 6/6, or can hit a 6/6 with trample. Is transforming Flourish? So it can't hit enchantments or planeswalkers, which is fair. The Demonstrator is kind of funny because they could bring it back on you, I guess. Have they just power crept Chaos Warp? Weird. I didn't expect them to do that, but I'm kind of like, I think you in a lot of decks you run it as well. Of like hitting artifacts and creatures is very flexible. Power creep and Chaos Warp is not what I was expecting them to do, but I think it's strong. The demonstrate is very cool, because then you get 2 versions of it. Yeah, I might even try this in a one-on-one cube. That seems fun. All right, Voracious Bibliophile, 3 and a blue. Creature Dragon, Flying Vigilance. Whenever you cast a spell with 1 or more targets, draw that many cards. What? Okay, so if you're in the combat deck, like the Zada deck, this just... All your combat tricks draw you a card. On a 4-mana Flying Vigilance, that's pretty good. What other stuff targets? Like... I want stuff that like targets a lot of creatures. Like... This seems very good in the Jeskai build. So let's just scrap first. Yeah, so scrap first print. So in this deck, this seems pretty good. So yeah, we have third pass as we thought. We have Right of Replication. Choose a token that's a copy of target creature you control. The spell is create 5. So yeah, so you're targeting with Right of Replication. So that will draw you a card, I guess. Whenever you cast a spell that Oh, it's not just your stuff. Oh, it turns your removal into card draw. That's pretty good. Turning your... Yes. Path to Exile needed you to draw a card as well. That's pretty good. Just... Yeah, I mean, your decks should have 8 bits of removal in it anyway. 8 bits of targeted removal. Just having them also draw you cards. Like, I do think you want to be in a deck where you are doing more than just that. Just because just running it is going to be tricky. Or it deserving a space in a deck is a bit tricky just by itself. But if you're doing a bunch of targeting stuff, then this seems very strong. Yeah, if you have combat tricks, if you're doing heroic, and if you are just packing a bunch of removal, I think that's very strong. Yeah, I'm here for it. There's probably a bunch of stuff in this deck that works really well with it. Ooh. Goblin Electromancer reprint, love that. And Gutter Snipe, okay, this deck makes sense, writes itself. Alright, we have one more card to get through today. Will of the Jeskai. 3 and a red, sorcery, choose one. If you control a commander, as you cast a spell, you may choose both instead. Okay, it's one of these commander effects where you get both sides of it if you have your commander up. Each player may discard their hand and draw 5 cards. That's good. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. That's really strong. We're not going to get a Wheel of Fortune reprint, but this is close. And if you get the ability to... Like, it's a lot of mana to pitch your hand and then cast some spells again. But if you have some mana reduction in your deck, if it's late in the game in Commander, if you're casting this on like turn... Like, this is like a turn 8 or 9 spell when you are storming off or popping off. Like, if you're doing the actual storm thing of, like, running a bunch of, like... Not mana flares, but like a bunch of rituals in your deck. So you cast them first, ritual this out, then you have rituals to cast again. That's pretty strong. Hold on, they've kind of, and I'm saying these words, choosing these words carefully. They've kind of stapled Wheel of Fortune and Yawgmoth's Will onto a card. They're not as good as both of them, because Yawg's Will can also do things like Moxen and 0-mana artifacts. But if you do both of these in Commander, you should be winning. A lot of the time, this would just be like... I like this. Like budget... Like, I could... I love... Wheel of Fortune is one of those cards that I like. I'm fortunate enough that I saved up and got trade value and managed to get one at the last Magicon I went to, Magicon Amsterdam. And I want to play this in every red deck. It's just such a fun card. Like, I'm not doing Nekasar stuff with it. I'm just drawing 7 cards in my red deck after I'm empty-handed. For 1 more mana and 2 less cards, I would still run this. It is a May, so yeah, so it doesn't go in those wheel decks, which means it will actually probably be a bit cheaper than Wheel of Fortune, because Wheel of Fortune, than other wheels, because things like Wheel of Fortune aren't a May. They have to do it. With this just goes in any red deck in Commander now, I think. That is just really strong. That is an effect I want. I'm happy to pay 1 more mana for it to get it, and then if I get to even if I'm not a spells deck, if I just get to bolt something again, I'm very happy with this. Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome card to finish on. I think that's where we're going to have to end it for today. Thank you all very much for watching. I think we'll be back tomorrow, probably with more spoilers. There was way more yesterday than we initially thought, just because, yes, one spot or one outlet posted their stuff a little bit early. But hey-ho. So we should get another one tomorrow. I think there's another Commander deck to spoil today. I hope it's the Saute one. That is the one I will probably be getting if it's vibing what we want. But yeah. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until tomorrow, we'll see you all soon. Goodbye.